I ain't even gonna lie, I am so hyped right now. Like, yo, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it, hands down. And I read quite a few chapters of the new manga this week, but hands down, One Piece had to have taken it for chapter of the week. Hands down. Drop me a like if you agree that One Piece took it for best chapter this week, because don't get me wrong, I read Clover, I read My Hero, I read Samurai 8, I read a few different things, but One Piece, Zoro with the Enma sword, Luffy's new Haki ability, the end of Wano Act 2, there's so much in this chapter, and it's crazy because this was just a wrapping the, act off and setting things up for the true creme de la creme. But One Piece, Oda has that magic, baby. Like, oh, One Piece greatness. Let's talk about it, baby.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
Yes, people, this chapter of One Piece, I'm not even gonna lie, I was just so amped. And again, it's crazy because it was a lot of setup. It was all dialogue. It was all just maneuvering. It was all just getting a little more introspective into certain aspects. Again, like what's going on with Zoro's swords and whatnot. But the way it was handled, the way it set things up, the way it made it feel like things is about to be real. Like, the expectations are high. Before we even talk about, what went down with this chapter, I just gotta say, the expectations for Wano Act 3 are through the roof because of what Act 2 and Act 1 did. But in particular, Act 2, the setups and build-ups that we've had up until this point are so astronomically in the realm of like, yo, this arc is going to be a masterpiece. Everything Oda said, the promise of what's about to go down in Act 3. Act 3 right now, the expectations, Oda has a lot to live up to, okay? Like, people are expecting this to topple Marineford, which, if anybody knows, Marineford is one of the most celebrated arcs in all of One Piece history because of what happened. So, Act 2 wrapping up with this chapter, I am just like, because we know what's to come and our expectations and what we hope for. Oda gotta live up to it, baby. Yeah, I'm on my fanboy mode. So what? I love One Piece. And what? So the chapter starts off very interesting because one of the things I want to talk about is the traitor seemingly amidst all of this, because at the end of the chapter, of course, we got Orochi saying, aha, Hiyori is still alive, let's go, which it was a letter, so there's a traitor amongst us, right? Now, a lot of people are going to be questioning, well, what's going on with the traitor, and there's a couple of people that are suspects for it. Again, the beginning of the chapter is what makes me wonder if there's a very elaborate ruse going on, and that's because Hiyori is like, nah, I'm going to meet up with everybody in a bit, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised, and maybe Orochi's not that smart, or maybe Hiyori is just like a massive monster of a pudding times 10, but I still, and again, maybe it's a crazy theory, maybe I'm completely off, because seemingly an attempt was made on her life before, and that's what, led to where she's at right now, and of course, waiting all these years, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hiyori, throughout all these years, waiting for this big revolution to happen, kind of had a change of plans and a change in her mind of what's to come. Maybe she doesn't believe all of this. Maybe she's so bitter. Like, there's a huge possibility in my mind. And again, if I'm off, I'm off. It is what it is. Crazy theory. Hiyori, based on the beginning, the sketchiness of like her, I'm not ready, and just certain aspects make me wonder, is there an elaborate ruse going on with Hiyori? Maybe she faked a lot of this. Maybe there's a big plot so that way they could get a mole inside of, in case there was a plan to overthrow Orochi and go up against Kaido and all this stuff. Who knows? Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's not going to stop me from theorizing, baby, because the beginning of the chapter again, alright, I'm like, Hiyori, okay, she's not ready, whatever. But the end of the chapter, because, we have Hiyori in my mind, again, maybe I'm by myself on this, fine, I'll be the lonely island here, okay, people? We have Hiyori. A lot of people, from what I've seen in the comments, people are saying Shinobu, because Shinobu continues to point the finger at Law and going at Law as if she's trying to direct and avert any attention that may come to her for having any foul play and anything over the Law. Like, yo, we shouldn't trust him. How many times has she already badmouthed Law? Like, oh, he's gonna flip on us and him and him. So Shinobu very well could be the best target to say, you know what, she's the traitor. So definitely, I understand where everyone's coming from, and it probably will be Shinobu, and people know Oda very well with his plot twists and whatnot. But also, of course, there's Law. very least likely out of all of them, because, and I say Law, like right after Orochi gets that letter, we see Law walking towards wherever the heck he's going. I'm imagining he's going to meet up with everybody for the big shebanga, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying Law is the least likely. Maybe, I don't know, people will say Hiyori's the least likely, probably, and I don't know. I'm not sure when it comes to people, how they feel of like some really elaborate plot like that, or just some major traitorous stuff going on with her. But then wouldn't it be the most like mind-blowing that, you know, Hiyori had a part in, you know, betraying everything, her connection, of course, her brother, Lord Odin and everything? That'd be huge. And then, of course, Shinobu at the very top, because she's just like averting everything, and she just comes across as like, maybe, why is she constantly going at Law, pointing at Law, saying Law, Law, Law? Nah, we should just kill him and everything. Could very well be she was trying to maybe get rid of Law out the picture so that they could cast all blame of any traitors on Law. And there was some nice Momo scenes, like throughout this chapter. Even though we having incredible build up and everything, there was some also pretty cool stuff with like Momo, for example, him again getting more, I can't remember if he already knew that his sister was alive, but it was more explained in this chapter. And you see Momo, he kind of has some misconceptions, because obviously you got to think, wait a minute, so there's a huge gap in their ages now. That's not like your little sister anymore, close to your age. There's an 18-year difference. And Sanji, you know Sanji's gonna be hating right now, which I ain't gonna lie, I'm imagining the Zoro and Sanji fandoms right now. Sanji fandom, Black Leg, we gotta take this L right now, because Zoro just went to a whole other level. Sanji, you know what I'm saying, he's trying to kiss up a little bit and suck up to Momo, like, yeah man, you want anything or whatever, but it ain't gonna stop what just happened. Like Zoro right now, the Zoro fandom unfortunately are getting a big laugh right now, because whole other level for all the people that said, nah, Sanji surpassed Zoro, Sanji over Zoro all day, every day. I don't think they could even try that argument after this chapter. I don't think that's even plausible. I mean, I love Sanji. Sanji, a G. You know what I'm saying? Cook me a meal, fam. Let's eat together. Let's break bread. You know what I'm saying? But come on. You know what I'm saying? We'll get more into Zoro in a bit, but man. Just, I love that, even down to the females that Zoro got to be with Hiyori. You know, Sanji taking the L's, and there's like, Sanji's taking too many L's. I give Sanji a break. And then breaking into the sword talk a little bit with Tengu, I can't remember how to say his full name, Hitetsu, and talking about how he's planning on, of course, returning the swords to their proper place and whatnot, and just building everything up. It's all going back to Zoro, honestly. It all shows that this is gonna be Zoro's arc. I mean, how long has it been foreshadowed that Wano, the swordsman samurai country, Zoro potentially having origins here? A lot of certain aspects in there that is like, okay, yeah, and you know, this guy with the swords and whatnot, and I sound like a blithering idiot saying the swords, but you get what I mean. This has been led up to for a very long time, and from the beginning of him saying, yo, where you got that sword from, and this and that, shows that there's something very important here, obviously. And at first he tries to give a sword to Momo. Momo, he ain't ready for that. He ain't about that life. And I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, like Momo getting off with the sword and everything that's going to happen. Who knows if Momo and them, I don't know, he's a little kid, so I don't think they'll kill him off. But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people, because imagine, the way this has been set up, we're outnumbered and everything. I wouldn't be surprised Kinemon, Kanjuro, a lot of these people are going to take L's in this war. Because this is a war. This ain't just a little skirmish. You seen the numbers. This is a war. So him passing up on the sword, again, I don't see a little kid like Momo dying, although these people should already technically have been dead. You know what I'm saying? They supposedly died like 20 years ago or some shit, so they shouldn't even be here to begin with. But when Momo passed up on the sword, I was like, yeah, that's to be expected. But at the same time, if he would just master his devil fruit ability, he'd be a monster. You know, he's a little dragon already. We got something going there, so he don't really need the sword anyway. He should, if anything, if he was going to be a warrior, train up on that devil fruit ability. But who knows? Maybe this is foreshadowing. We'll have a big time skip at the end of One Piece, and he'll master this power and be able to help in a big war against the, you know, the royal government, the world government. And then Zoro receiving Enma. Oh, baby, this is a game changer, because first of all, if I'm not mistaken, Enma is the sword that was said to be the only sword that injured Kaido. So if Zoro has his hands on this sword already, it's you gotta look at it. He's Zoro. You know what I'm saying? Strong as shit. Zoro gets a sword that was legendary, said to be the only weapon to have ever, you know, pierced Kaido, which Kaido's a monstrosity of an animal. Like, how do you even do that? And then we get to see a little bit of the abilities of this sword, which time was flying by, so I'm imagining within the few days that they had left, Zoro did everything he possibly could with the sword. But very, very interesting that, for starters, it starts absorbing his Haki quickly. After he uses the sword and he cuts off like a piece of the landscape, like a good chunk of, I'm like, what are we doing here, bro? Zoro, remember anyway, for monsters like Kaido and Big Mom, we need this right now. In order for anybody on our side, the Straw Hats and this whole army that we got going up against them, we need forces of this caliber. Because if not, there's no chance of taking a W and it making sense. So Zoro getting the sword, again, it was foreshadowed for a long time. So there's nothing really that anybody could possibly come at this and say, this doesn't, no, it's great, it's incredible. And then getting more into it of how it absorbs the Haki. But Zoro, this is why Zoro is an animal. It's because he's Zoro, baby. He's a beast. He says, yo, get that shit back. And then he takes the Haki back from the sword. I'm like, what are we doing here, bro? Or the Ryo, because if I'm not mistaken, Ryo, however the hell you pronounce it, that's basically the Wano phrase for Haki. So we see, which are awesome, cool stuff or whatever. But, of course, it gives an even bigger boost for what Zoro's going to be. So now Zoro's sword collection, monster, animal, going to be able to... You know what I'm saying? Like, I do see Zoro being the only other person. He's going to injure Kaido, whether it be to give Luffy that final blow, whether it be something there. Zoro's going to get a hit on Kaido. If he doesn't, I will be very, very disappointed. I think the build-up, the setup, everything is there to perfectly give Zoro a legitimate way of getting a strike on Kaido. And on top of that, it was said, hey, that sword ain't even black yet. There's still room for it to go higher up in the ranks. So imagine Zoro has maybe a skirmish or two or a pretty decent fight against somebody from Kaido's army, and then eventually leading to Kaido with the sword being fully black because Zoro trained it up even more. Come on, this is going to be freaking crazy. And like I said about the numbers, so we got a very, very... bad situation here. We got 4,200 forces, which probably I'm imagining will have 5,000 by the end. They were trying to recruit as much as they can. I remember the last one was we have 4,000 and they got 200 more, so there was 4,200, but we're going up against 30,000. And it brings me to a Chinese story. It was a Chinese live action that I watched. It's based on history. Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It's called Three Kingdoms though, the actual Chinese live action I saw. And I remember they had an army of 750,000, and we had about I think it was what's his name, Cao. He had an army of like 70,000. And he still managed to take them out using strategy and overall just overcoming them. He used the sun and everything. And that's what I see with this. And don't get me wrong, Wano is taking bits and pieces from history. Who knows if that's what inspired it? Because that is a very, very big difference. 4,200 to 30,000. On top of that is 30,000 people. Well, 20,000 of them are Kaido's people. 10,000 of them are Orochi's people. But that's an outnumbered manslaughter. Like, how you going to do it? Again, I think that they're going to use strategic aspects. We're gonna have, and we got heart on our side. At the end of the day, you got to think, like, we have people that have been oppressed for so long that they want to make a change. People that are pushed against the wall, that's when they shine the most. When your back is against the wall, you got no other way out but forward. We're gonna go forward, baby. So even though they got 30,000 and we only got 4,200, we got 4,200 with a good majority of them being oppressed and tired. You know, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Gonna be freaking insane. But then also, Zoro ain't the only one that was powering up, baby. Luffy training up. We see a panel of him gear forth, destroying those blocks, and he's like, still ain't even finished yet. And it's like, god damn, that's not perfect. What is, you know what I'm saying? So we see though, by the end of it, of course, Luffy has actually seemingly mastered the technique. He's able to use that Haki thing to blow shit up from a distance, or, you know, break shit in, whatever the heck it is that it does. That right there just shows. So we got Zoro, now he got this sword that is monstrous. He was able to, you know, chop an island in half, essentially. Not the whole island, but, you know, the landscape of the side of that shoreline. We got Luffy, his new Haki ability that he's been trying to train. Seemingly, he got it down packed. 2 heavy boosts in order to fight Kaido and his army. On top of that, we got 4,200 people. On top of that, we got planning. Frankie getting the Sunny ready to go. Everything is going really smooth. Like, there was a lot of mishaps in Act 1. And then in Act 2 as well, of like, damn, this went wrong. This went wrong. But now, a lot of things have been going pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Zoro getting the Enma sword, pretty good. That kind of came, not out of nowhere, but it was like perfect freaking timing. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, what type of monstrous sword it's going to be that it still can get ranked up. And then Luffy having that ability, and he trained even more. So, like, you know, he was trained to the point where he was knocked out on the ground snoring that he couldn't even be awoken. Definitely shows that we're gonna have a huge battle. Like, my expectations right now, Oda has some very, very big promises to fulfill in terms of, like, this needs to be great, okay? This needs to be incredible. I don't want no sidestepping. I don't want no skip fights. This looks too good to go around. We need to go straight through. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it all. And then midway through, or about 3 ways into the chapter, of course, Shinobu, again, like I said earlier, pointing the finger. Where's Law? Why ain't he here? Which, honestly, like, if it's a traitor, Shinobu does fit very well. I think there's some red herring. Maybe Hiyori and her absence and wanting to stay behind at the beginning of the chapter could have just been a red herring by Oda to throw people off, and maybe it really is Shinobu. But she is kind of acting a little bit like, yo, why are you that much on Law? You act like he broke your heart or something, girl. Like, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? And I'm curious about the strange reasoning that Enma fits Zoro so well. Like, there's just so much right here set up and build up. Again, there's a lot of things. Zoro having the other swords with him. There's just so many different aspects of, like, okay, this right here is going to make Zoro be able to, like, I'm curious who we're gonna have Zoro up against. I don't think it's gonna be Jack at this particular point. Maybe Queen, I don't know. But again, no matter who he fights, Zoro needs to get a dig in on Kaido, and that's going to be the pivotal moment, because gotta remember, Kaido has Big Mom with him as well. It's not like we're just going up against Kaido now, but I do think Big Mom is gonna flip at him at some given point. I don't think they're just gonna be, I think she's playing it up. I think this is going to show. We get a couple of digs in on him, and then that's when Big Mom's gonna turn and say, you know what? I hate Straw Hat, but I hate you more, motherfucker. And then, like I said, the end of the chapter, Orochi gets the letter saying basically, hey, Hiyori's alive. Which again, it could have been Hiyori. It could have been Hiyori saying like, hey, you know, I survived it or whatever, but I want to come back, or some crazy shit. I don't know. It just seems like the Hiyori thing maybe is a little too far-fetched. Whatever. Shinobu. We do see Law right after the panel after that, so it could be that Law made some sort of deal after leaving, and that's what's going on there. I don't know. I'm really curious what you guys think as far as who do you think the traitor is. I'm really excited. I noticed though with shonen manga, we have Black Clover had a traitor, My Hero currently has a traitor, One Piece has a traitor. What's going on here? Is there some sort of memo that we didn't get that Shonen Jump needs to throw traitors in lately? Like, yeah. And Festival Day here. End of Wano Act 2. Insane. Honestly, like, this is how you do a setup chapter, okay, people? Like, all aspiring mangaka, this is how you do it. You give incredible, awesome foreshadowing, build up, suspense all around. Because, like, yo, now we're worried about, okay, who's the traitor in our midst that now Orochi knows about Hiyori? How's Zoro's new sword going to work? Did he master it in time? Luffy's new Haki ability. So many different aspects. Law isn't with us yet. What's going on there? And then since they did this at the end of Act 1, I want to say, in between Act 1 and 2, we probably might cut back to the Reverie or just different places in the One Piece world at this particular point. I'm curious to see how that's going to go and what impact it'll have. If Sabo finds out what's going on over here, are we going to... Because I'm imagining Oda does want to get Sabo involved into this at some given point, because Wano's so closed up, it's hard to get information or whatever. So I'm curious to see if we're going to go to the Reverie after this, before we get to Act 3. But honestly, this chapter, best chapter of the week. Again, I said it. Black Clover, y'all know I love me some Clover or whatever, but One Piece was just unstoppable. It's been unstoppable the past few weeks, and Wano, this is really good. Really freaking good. But of course, I'm curious what you guys think. For starters, again, who's the traitor? Who is it? Who's spilling the beans to Orochi? Is it Law? Is it Hiyori? Is it Shinobu? Is it somebody else that I have no idea? Kawamatsu? Like, that would be ridiculous. Let it not be Kawamatsu. Like, you know, Hiyori's already a little, but Kawamatsu would be like, yeah, that'd be slap in the face. We don't need that. Also, Law's Enma sword. How do you think that's going to go down? Any predictions and theories on how that's going to be used? I wonder if he could absorb other people's Haki based on, like, let's just say he blocks an attack with the sword. Will he be able to absorb their Haki, or it's kind of only the holder's Haki? And also, like, there's just so much to say about it. And Luffy's new Haki ability, how you think that's going to play? There's just, again, so much for this one. I can't freaking wait for Act 3 to begin. Oda, you got to deliver now. Like, you've set things up to a tremendous expectation. It's time, baby. Deliver the goods. So for a setup chapter, y'all already know this is in the high 9s. I don't know about a 10 because it was set up, but it's damn near close. I think it was even trending on Twitter. That's how popular this chapter was. But that's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in.
Enjoy the next ride, but I was the best ride. But I hope you know that